sometimes you got to stop focusing and thinking about what could have happened and what should have happened, and you got to live in what is happening, right? Because I always say to him, stop trying to understand it and focus on surviving it, because the quicker you can survive it, the quicker you can use it, the quicker you can extract a lesson from it, the quicker you can glean perspective from it. And for all of us, we're gonna encounter those defining moments in our lives, right, to where it's gonna hurt, right? You went through it, I went through it. I remember I said to somebody like, man, it felt like I was in a boxing match and I just got KO'd. Life just knocked me out, bro. And I'm on the mat trying to find my mouthpiece, right? I'm like spitting out blood. I see him over there counting, right? I'm looking at my guy in the corner. He want to throw in the towel. I'm like, not yet. And I find the strength to muster up, to get myself up. Be like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. Now, I'll never forget that person saying, you know what? Life is so cold-blooded. You're going to get knocked out like that again. And again, and again. So the challenge is, will you learn the lessons from it so the lessons doesn't have to keep getting repeated and you keep having to learn it? So when you go through these things of opposition, adversity, and challenge, it's always a lesson, it's always a blessing. It's up to us to extract it. And if we're so concerned with trying to understand why, we're gonna miss the lesson, right? We're gonna miss the blessing, and the lesson is gonna keep repeating itself. Like, I got 2 kids. One of our big things is attitude drives performance. Attitude drives performance. I say to them all the time, when you get negative and you get frustrated, what does it do to your performance? Like, it goes bad. It just gets bigger and bigger, negative and negative. I'm like, exactly. And so when it doesn't turn out the way you want it to turn out and you get negative, the lesson is just gonna repeat itself until you graduate, right? Until you learn how to celebrate the pain. Celebrate. My son, sometimes he'll come out, go 5 for 5, right? Might get 2 home runs, right? Other times he'll come out, go 0 for 5, right? When you go 0 for 5, are you gonna start huffing and puffing and then you gotta get the lesson repeated again? Or are you gonna learn at a certain point to say, all right, man, it's baseball. It happens. So what? Clap it up, cheer on your teammate and say, you know what? Today I'm not getting it done on the offensive side. Defense, I got you, right? Sometimes I'm not getting it done on this side. I got you. And so that's the key to life, I think. Sometimes when things don't go our way, the quote says it. You judge the true character and caliber of a person, not by where they stand in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the true character and caliber of a person by where they stand in times of challenge and controversy, right? It's an incredible thing, and character can be cultivated in the midst of opposition and adversity. That's the reason it says it. It's King's quote. It doesn't say you judge character by how a person responds when everything is going good. They know how you're gonna respond.
Right.
Happy-go-lucky, celebrate, hand clap, great, hip hip hooray. But when things go wrong, things don't go the way you want them to, they don't unfold the way you want them to, who are you? Because that's the true test of who you are as a person. That's your true character. That's the essence and the ethos of who you are as a person. Everybody is going to smile when the sun's shining, man. But the song says it. Can you stand the rain, baby? Like, it says it.
Yeah.
And so in life, can you stand the rain? That's the true test of character. Fatherhood has really pulled the element and the side out of me that, you know, has really served me well, right? Because we're blessed with 2 beautiful kids, 11-year-old daughter, 10-year-old son, totally different in terms of how they view life, how they approach life, and how they do things. Of course, my son is like my wife. It's total opposite. My daughter is like me, right? And so some of the tactics early on that I would try to use with my son, it wouldn't work. And my wife is phenomenal. My wife, you know, at one point in her life, she was an educator, teacher, loved kids, right? And so communicating with kids for her comes second nature. You know, I'm more like
toughen up,
a coach. Yeah. Get up, man, let's go, right? And so I leaned on her a lot, and she would share things with me. Like, I remember my daughter, man, I had this moment, it broke my heart, man, but it created extreme revelation. Like, it was a light bulb moment, but it hurt me as a father. Like, when my daughter was probably, say, 8, and, you know, I would have this mentality, you know, whenever they would do something great, you know, I was the guy that would see it, you know, and be like, man, that was great, that was cool. But if you do this, it would help you get that. If you did that, it'd help you get this, right? I was that dude because that was the way I was wired and how I looked at things coming up, you know, just in sports and life, because I was that type of person. And I'll never forget, my daughter came out one day after school, sitting in the carpool line. She comes out, she has like a test grade. She had like maybe like a 89. And she gets in the car and she was like, Dad, I got an 89 on my test. She was like, you probably don't think it's that good, but I'm really proud of myself. Like, I worked really hard. I gave it everything I had, right? And I was like, damn, I became that guy. I make my kids feel like nothing is ever good enough. And I remember talking to my wife that night, and I shared with her what Jada said. And I was like, man, that really hurt me. As a father, that hurt, bro. Like, I get emotional about it. That hurt me. You know what I'm saying? Because I never wanted my kids or want my kids to ever feel like I don't care if you do your best and you get a C. Like, as your father, I got your back and I'm gonna love you and I'm gonna be proud of you regardless. Like, I'm gonna ride with you regardless. I'm your dude, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, that really hurt me. That I made her feel that way, that she had to say, like, Dad, you might not think this is much, but I'm really proud of myself, right? And my wife said something to me, and she said, you know, sometimes, Ink, we can be so focused on who a person can become that we forget to acknowledge who they are and where they are. She's like, sometimes we just gotta acknowledge who they are and where they are. Make an 89 and they gave their best at it, hey man, great job. Sometimes they're gonna have a 95, sometimes they're gonna have a 104, right? But as their father, it's my job to always be supportive, to always be empathetic, to always be understanding. Of course, correction comes, accountability comes. They should always know that I'm gonna be loving, I'm gonna be understanding, and if you do your best and you say that's your best, that's enough. We hold on to these different emotions that attach to the experiences that we have. So I think you got the experience and then you got the collateral damage of the experience.
Yeah.
How it affects our mindset, how it affects the way we see people, how it affects our emotions. And I think sometimes it's challenging to separate the two.